Forge FC is ready to take the pitch.
Simply stunning stuff. And finally, their goal. My word, what a rocket.
Now, let's get 3 keys to the match with Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network.
Hello, Forge fans. 3 keys to the match presented by Volkswagen. I'm Anthony Urciuoli. Forge FC hosting York United Saturday, August 20th, 7 o'clock. Remember, so that's start time because it changed. It was an afternoon tilt. It's now a prime time event because there's plenty happening on and off the field. We'll get to that in a moment, though. 3 keys to the match. Forge FC still in top spot on the CPL table with 35 points. There is a logjam up there, though. After losing to Cavalry in their last match, other clubs have been able to gain ground. In fact, Pacific, Atletico, Cavalry have all won their previous match. And so, Forge, Pacific, Atletico, all tied with 35 points. Forge, though, with matches in hand on both. Also, 2 matches in hand on Cavalry, who is a point back of Forge. Now, we know Forge FC does not like to spend a lot of time talking about the table and looking at the standings. Midfielder Aboubacar Sissoko, who's been a monster this season for Forge FC, says the table really doesn't impact the way they approach their matches.
Honestly, no. We abort every game as the same game, as a final, and we prepare ourselves to win. So we have, our destiny in our hand because we're at top of the table now, and we have 2 games less on the second, on third. So no. We just play, enjoy, and then every games we try to have 3 points. So yeah.
So between 1 and 4, there is a 1-point difference. York is at the bottom of the table. They're not going to make the playoffs. They have 20 points rather in 20 matches. They've had long slides. They had a 9-game winless streak. Lately, they've been win-loss. So they've been inconsistent all season, and it shows in the table. But Forge will have to be careful because with a little less to play for, playing a little looser, York could prove to be a dangerous club and play spoiler. Every club gets up to play Forge, York especially, with it being a 9:05 derby match. Speaking of that, let's get to the 3 keys. Key number 1 for Forge FC, derby downer. This derby hasn't quite lived up to what fans in Hamilton and the GTA have hoped because York hasn't had a ton of playoff success success in general during their time in the CPL. Forge has. It's been a little lopsided in that sense. Head-to-head, it's been closer. But overall, Forge has played in bigger games. And for York to get to that point, and for this to be a derby that's meaningful, is both clubs have to be playing for something meaningful near the end of the year, and York just has it. At the end of the day, the derby is a downer. That's good for Forge. Keep it down. Keep it a disappointing derby. It's disappointing because Forge has to be the dominant club. They've shown it in their success and their place on the table. Now they need to show it more in their head-to-head matches. Make it a boring derby. If you're Forge, who cares? You're just out there to win. Now, we know clubs get up to play Forge FC. That's something head coach and technical director Bobby Smyrniotis is used to and is expecting this weekend against York.
I think for them, it's always an important match. They're coming off a very good win, and I think 2 in their last 3. A lot of new faces in their lineup. When you look at it from probably the last time we played them. So we expect them to come with a lot of energy and a very good plan to come in here and try and do their business. I think it's something we're prepared for week after week. It's pointless for me to look at the table and see where things are. Because we see each week the amount of energy the teams are putting into our games, and we expect the same thing here at Tim Hortons Field.
Key number 2 for Forge FC. Head on a swivel. You have to be careful against a club like York. They don't create a lot of their own. Let's just say they can create, they don't finish. They lead the league in chances created in open field. But they are 7th in the CPL in goals scored in open play. They're getting the most chances and they're scoring not very much. They're one of the worst in the league in that category. Also, goals in the box, Forge is first with 33. York last at 15. So York is not a dangerous club during their build and on the attack. Where they can cause some trouble is when things get a little disorganized for their opponent. In this case, for Forge. Watch the turnovers, watch the counters, and don't give up any meaningful free kicks in dangerous areas. Don't give any freebies. Make York work as hard as possible, because when that has been the case, York has not been successful. And that's something Forge relies heavily on. If they don't give up any cheap ones to York, you can feel pretty confident Forge can come away with 3 points here. Key number 3 for Forge, Tim Hortons Field tempo. It was missing last match. Under extreme heat, Forge struggled to play the game they wanted to. And, it was a dangerous game. They came away with 3 points against Halifax, but there were some moments there where you weren't sure if Forge was going to be able to come away with a win. And it just, the heat on the temperature on the pitch was so excruciating. I mean, the final whistle hit and players just collapsed. It was really hot, and it really... It made it so Forge just could not play that up-tempo style they wanted to. I mean, these are human beings. They just could not physically push themselves enough to play that up-tempo game that they thrive on. Bring it back. Bring it back to Tim Hortons Field. Make sure teams are... They're worried. They're thinking, trip to Hamilton, what a waste. What's the point? We're just traveling there to give away 3 points. Bring that feeling back. Have it so York gets on the bus, and on that way home, they think back to, wow, we just couldn't keep up. Bring that back. Bring it back to Tim Hortons Field. Those are your 3 keys to the match. Forge, York, August 20th. That's on Saturday at 7 o'clock. There's plenty happening on and off the pitch. $5 beers before kickoff returns for this one. So at around 6 o'clock, you can start getting your $5 beers right up until kickoff at 7. Inflatables, lawn games, mascots, prizes, all coming back to the Stipley fan zone on the south side. Make sure you get there early and take advantage of that fun. For the whole family, also families are on the pitch again after the match. You can bring your family on the pitch. And for this match, players will be coming out. You'll get some photos. You can get some autographs. Plenty going on from start to finish in this one on and off the pitch. So enjoy. I'll be there, and I hope to see you there.
Forge FC is ready, and now you are too. This has been 3 Keys to the Match on the Forge Audio Network. Keep up to date on your Forge FC by subscribing to the Forge Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.